Major news in the markets, friends. We need to talk about it. We got some big news coming out of Indonesia. I know you probably don't think about Indonesia too much, but Indonesia houses the second largest mine in the world. Now we're talking about copper, we're talking about silver, we're talking about gold. They mine a massive amount of copper. About 3% of the world's copper comes from this mine, and they just had a massive catastrophic accident that has shut down the mine. Already, copper prices went up by about 4% yesterday. Copper is what makes the world spin. Everything electric, everything out there that needs transmission needs copper. Electric cars, all sorts of, everything has wiring in it. Is a big deal. Copper is looking like it's going to be in shortage. Not only that, but then people are less talking about the impacts to gold and silver prices. And also we need to look at just the fact that we are short on minerals, materials. And that's why we keep saying on this channel that you need to be getting stocked up on physical items, physical things. Because when we look at the price of beef, canned beef is outpricing and is going up, is a better investment than even the stock market today. And that is a shocking but true statement. We were just looking at that earlier. We have this Keystone beef going up in price significantly, $2 just in the last couple of days. This is hyperinflation kind of feels to it. Now, we're not there quite yet. It's been a while since Keystone hiked their prices, but we're seeing more of these type of things coming. And there's just a supply shortage of critical minerals. We're going to talk all about that and a whole lot more. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade. And these are things the mainstream media just won't tell you. All right. The Grasberg mine in Indonesia. It's run by Freeport McMoran. They are the second largest copper mine in the world. And we'll get back to what's also happening over at the largest copper mine in the world. And let's just say things are not going well there either. But over in Indonesia here at the Grasberg mine, things are not like sort of bad. They're catastrophic. So they have a number of different sections to the mine, but they have the big pit outside of it, and you can kind of see the levels going down to it. That's what they used to do when they just strip mine the whole thing. But nowadays, with underground sensors and seismic imaging, they can actually see what's underground, and then they do bore testing, drilling down there to see what kind of intercepts they get and see and test the core samples. Well, nowadays they can kind of map where the ore is underground, and then they can dig tunnels going down to it. So these tunnels start stretching and they just follow the seams as far as they may go. So you got the pit, and then at the bottom of the pit, usually you have your tunnels going down. Now the problem here is they had a massive mudslide, and we're not talking about a sort of problem mudslide. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of tons of mud, 800,000 tons of mud into the underground levels. Now, trapped workers down there, several workers did not survive because of that, and other 5 workers are still supposedly trapped down there, or at least haven't been found. Now, they are trying to re-excavate these tunnels and trying to clear them. A bunch of workers were trapped underground, but were able to get to the escape areas and were able to escape. Now, this is significant because, like I said, this is the second largest mine in the world. When we start talking about the amount of minerals that come out of this thing, we're looking at potentially losing over the next 6 months of it being shut down, because they're talking about a phased reopening in 2026. 500 kilotons of copper may be lost through the end of the year. Goldman Sachs, their commodities desk, is penciling in an estimate of 525,000 tons of copper being gone from the market. just to give you kind of an idea of what that means globally. They're saying basically that the world will produce 2% less copper because of this one mine going down. That's a pretty significant hit. About 3% of the global copper comes from this mine, and not all of this 2% down copper is coming from this one mine. It's also coming from the largest mine in the world, and that is down in Chile. Now, the Chile mine is not impacted quite to this level. It's not being like completely shut down for 6 months or something like that, but they are having labor disputes, and they are having issues with some of their engineering. And so this is causing a significant decrease in their production. So much so that the country of Chile has slashed its copper production by estimates by 1.5%. Now, we're still waiting to hear more from the company. The company is being kind of cagey about what is going on with the world's largest mine, as if we have any interest whatsoever. Now, we've been talking about copper, but one of the things that we're needing to talk about too is silver and gold, because this mine produces a lot of gold as well. Now, estimates from analysts, and this seems to be like a very secondary kind of thought, is that we might be losing over the next year, essentially, about 1 million ounces of gold will not be mined. Now, 1 million is kind of a big number. 1 million ounces of gold is a lot of gold. And this is a large portion of what is mined out there. So every year we're getting quite a bit of gold out of the ground still, but there's a lot of gold already in existence. Now, basically, all of the gold that we had back when the pharaohs walked the earth, we basically have all that gold still. Basically, the gold that existed continues to exist above ground and in some form. When you use gold, you just kind of recover it and you just reuse it again, right? Unlike some other minerals, like silver. Silver is used and tossed away. Industrially, it's tossed away all the time. We have a constant use of silver. We have expended, we have thrown away and trashed more silver than actually exists today, which is kind of startling if you think about it. So basically, we've used up, gone forever, more silver than what we have above ground in all the stockpiles, people's collections, everything like that. We are going through silver like nobody's business, and it's been 5 years where we have been pulling less silver out of the ground than what we're using. And the supply deficit of silver continues to grow. That's one of the reasons why I'm a big silver bug, right? But this isn't just about silver even. We got silver, gold. These are precious metals that are growing in value significantly. Silver just hit its all-time high, long-time high. Just recently, we got hitting $45. We got cobalt out there, also a similar kind of thing. Gallium, lithium. These are all minerals that we just don't have enough of, and we're going to be really, really short. Projections out there going out for the next 10 years, basically, even if this mine gets all fixed and everything gets good again, 30% short of the copper that we're going to need. So when we look at how much copper industries and countries are going to use over the next 10 years, we're not going to have enough copper. And this is not something we can snap our fingers and fix. If you and I were out on some land that we happen to own, okay, so we're not even talking about purchasing. If we find on our land a massive copper vein, okay, and we want to start a mine, it usually, on average, takes about 17 years after owning the land and discovering it to go from, hey, we have a cool discovery, let's start a mine, to actually going into production. The rounds of funding, the core tests, the seismic imaging of the ground, and the planning of the mine, the permitting, you're looking at about 17 years on average. Now, if you do it in the United States, it's going to take even longer. If you do it other places, it's going to take even longer. But other places, they're just kind of like, yeah, whatever, you don't need any permits, or you can just bribe your way through it. But generally speaking, it takes a long time to move from, hey, we found something, to actually producing mine. 17 years. So if we're going to have a 30% deficit in copper in the next few years. So let's bring this around. Okay, so what do we do about this? What do we do about this? Dollars are losing their value. How much did Big Mac cost a few years ago? I never buy Big Macs, so I didn't even know. But let's put it in terms that I understand. McDouble, right? That's a double cheeseburger, but only one slice of cheese, right? A McDouble used to go for $1, right? Now, we knew that they were kind of losing a little bit of money on that, but you go back 3 or 4 years ago, McDouble cost $1. Now a McDouble costs, you're lucky if you can get it for $2.50. You're looking at like $2.60, $2.70, $2.80, something like that. In some of your places, you're probably paying $3 for a McDouble. We go down the list of all the different things that used to cost something, and now we look at what it cost before. Just 3 or 4 years ago, I was getting cans of Keystone beef for about $6. Now they cost $12. So I'm not a rocket surgeon, but that's a pretty big price increase, right? Is it really that those cans of beef have gone that much up in value, or is it a lot of this related to the fact that the U.S. dollar is losing its value? Now, a lot of people are blaming us on tariffs and all that kind of stuff like that, and this supply crisis and that supply crisis. But when I look at it, I don't see that. I mean, Disney Plus just increased their subscription rate by 20%. Is that because of tariffs? No, it's because the dollar is just losing its value, right? And it's losing its value a lot faster than people want to bet. So what do we do about it? I am the biggest advocate in getting canned food, getting food for yourself, for your family, buying now for what you're going to use in the future, right? Stock up for the future, food-wise, household goods, things that you're going to need anyway, and make sure that you're prepared for emergencies, of course. But then after that, if you have extra money, get into metals. Precious metals like silver and gold are really the most efficient, effective way to protect yourself from inflation. Now, some of you guys can get into real estate. If you can buy a house, if you've never had a house, get a house with some land. That's a great investment. The mortgage rates are pretty high right now, but it's probably not a bad idea to do that. Then if you have a house, getting a second piece of property, a bug out location or something like that, getting a hunting cabin. As they say about land, they're not making any more of it, right? So get some land. That is probably going to be a good investment over time, especially if it's near a fast-growing area, whatever. But then after that, you're looking at precious metals. Precious metals should be something that you can hold in your hand. Genesis Gold Group makes these. These are just APMEX rounds. They're not a coin, so to speak. They're just kind of shaped into a coin. Genesis Gold makes the prepper bars, of course. These things are fantastic because you can break them up into little individual pieces. And these are 1/8 ounce, 1/4 ounce, and 1/16 ounce. So, if you're looking for something that you can break up into smaller pieces, these things are awesome for that. But a lot of people don't have a lot of cash sitting around. But one of the best things you can do is if you have a retirement account where you do have money in your retirement account, you can move that money from your retirement account over into precious metals. So, some of you guys, you have a mattress full of cash, which is not a great idea because a mattress full of coins, silver coins, would probably do you better because you wouldn't be losing all that value in inflation. Silver gets a little bit heavy if you have a lot of money or a lot of value in it. Once you start passing like $50,000, $100,000 worth of silver, it starts to get kind of heavy, and that's why people move over to gold. They buy some gold because it's very easy to conceal, very easy to carry a large value with you. So if you're rich, gold's probably the way to go. If you're not so rich, silver is probably the way to go. Make sure, of course, like I said, you have your food taken care of. But the idea that silver is been in deficit for 5 years. We're using more than what we're pulling out of the ground. And that's drawing on investment. So people who have like investment bars of silver, these things are coming out of investment, out of people's pockets, and are going into production, are being turned into smaller coins for investors. And then they're also being turned into solar panels and weapons of war. Weapons of war use a lot of silver, actually, when you look into it. Satellites use silver, and Elon Musk is putting up thousands of satellites, and each of them have silver in them. Every time that the United States military builds a weapon, like a stealth fighter jet or missiles or interceptor missiles, these all have silver components to them. And we expend them, and the silver is gone. We use up silver quite a bit. I think that silver is one of the best things to do. So if you have money in your retirement account, you can move that over into purchasing physical metals. Those physical metals have to stay in a repository or a bank until you take distribution of them for tax purposes, right? I mean, that's how retirement works. As long as it's out of your hands, you get the tax benefits. And then when you take distributions, you don't get a check for dollars. You get actually your physical metals that have been sitting in the bank vault. So is it better to have it in your hands, or is it better to have it in a bank vault? I think we'd all agree it's better to have in your hands. But is it better to have silver in a bank vault, or is it better to have dollars in your pocket or dollars in the bank vault? I think that we all kind of agree that having your silver coins with their serial numbers on them allocated to you is better than having dollars, ones and zeros on a computer screen that is supposedly allocated to you in a bank account, right? Or a retirement account. And stocks and bonds are just risky these days. So this is one of the reasons why we partner up with Jonathan and his team over at Genesis Gold Group. A lot of you guys have moved forward with them and have pivoted some of your retirement account or a lot of your retirement account. And if you did this back when I was telling you first off, it was like $22 or so for silver per ounce. It's now over $45 per ounce. You would have doubled your retirement account by shifting it over into precious metals. And it's got a long way to go. Very few people have silver. When you look at how much silver is on the planet for each person, it's like 2 ounces per person on the planet. So if you have more than 2 ounces, you are ahead of the curve. And as the world and as central banks start buying up silver, as countries that are planning to go to war buy up silver, it's just going to drive the price upwards. The United States has just added silver to a strategic metals reserve. The United States is going to start buying up silver to prepare for war. Other countries, Brics countries, are advocating that they need to be stocking up on gold and silver as well. That's just my thoughts. Now, this mine by Freeport McMoran is losing approximately 3 million ounces of silver mined over the next 6 months. Is that going to impact the silver market? I think it just might, because we're already in supply deficit and we're going to lose 3 more million ounces of silver that are not going to be coming out of the ground this year and early next year. That's going to also make a pretty big splash. So friends, there's lots and lots of reasons to get into precious metals, a lot of reasons to be there instead of the stock market. And I've told you how fraudulent I think the stock market really is right now. So I don't know. That's my thoughts, and I'm sticking to it. If you want to find out more from Jonathan and his team at Genesis Gold, I'll put that link right there on the screen. Just tap that, fill out your information, and they'll get in contact with you. You can also find them down in the pinned comment down below. Make sure you do mention this channel if you do contact them directly on the phone. That way they do waive your setup fee. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.